So, a huge piece of 90s popular culture that completely passed me by.
Yeah. It was it Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the popular pornography parody of Buffy the Vampire Slayer?
Buffy the Vampire Slayer, yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever, okay. So, a huge piece of 90s popular culture which I completely missed out on is the hugely popular and hugely influential show Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Yep.
Starring future
washed up has-been future Daphne from Scooby-Doo
and future star of Southland Tales.
Oh yeah.
Sarah Michelle Gellar and future surprise star Alison Hannigan.
Yeah.
Anthony Head, who went on to ruin his career by starring in Little Britain.
Yeah.
And various other actors.
Yeah.
I've not got long to do much. But, you know, whatever, you know, like, the thing with these kind of shows is that, like, they pretty much know they're going to be remembered for these roles and these roles only.
Yeah.
And it's only Alison Hannigan who's really kind of transcended it.
Yeah.
So Buffy the Vampire Slayer was a hugely popular TV show. I feel silly even describing what Buffy's about.
Yeah.
A hugely popular 90s TV show created by Joss Whedon, which concerns the exploits of some high school chums who later call themselves the Scooby Gang.
Yeah.
As they fight on various supernatural beings, sometimes vampires, but surprisingly not a lot of the time the vampires. There's actually other elements. And I have been slowly working my way through the whole series.
Yep.
I'm halfway through season 2 at the moment, and I thought I would reflect and look back at season 1.
Yeah.
Now you watched this when it was on, correct?
Well, my mum used to love it, and I was like I don't know, 10 or something, and she always used to watch it constantly. I've seen them loads. I didn't watch it when I was on because I was about 4 when it was first aired, but I watched them all over and over again. I even watched the premiere of season 6 when it was brought back, because they had like a really long interval between the season 5 and 6, where the show had effectively been cancelled and then they brought it back.
Ah, yes. I heard about this in the swap network, so the last 2 seasons are a lot darker, and edgier, and more sex-filled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they also feature a musical episode.
I've heard about this.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to get to that one.
But yeah, what happened was basically it was repeated constantly. So I watched them all as repeats at like 10, and then it was on again, and I used to watch that as well. Because you know, when you're 10, it's awesome. You know, vampires get killed. Sarah Michelle Gellar might drop a pencil like over a desk, and I might have to reach over to get it or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Lots of things can happen at high school.
Well, exactly anything can happen in high school.
Exactly.
I mean, the only bit of Buffy I'd seen was like, I remember being a kid and flicking through the channels thinking, oh, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, I've heard of this, and I was watching it at my grandma's house. It might have been on BBC.
Yeah, it used to be on BBC too, I think.
And like Buffy was walking along, and then like a vampire just jumped out of a bush and started to attack her.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, oh, and in my big rewatch, I'm like, I can't wait to get to that episode. I could be like, oh, I remember that.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much the opening of most episodes of Buffy.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much it. I had no real connection to the show.
No.
I've heard it's great.
The first series is notoriously not as good as the rest and has some growing pains, but yeah, they're pretty much seen as like the golden years are seen as being like all classics. The golden years, by the way, I think are like season 2 to 5.
Yeah.
It's not seen as good when it comes back, but still pretty decent.
See, I've heard season 4 is quite controversial.
Oh yeah, some people don't like that because it's a lot slower.
Yeah.
Yeah, and quite and a bit darker.
Okay.
It's got a
That's
really.
when we go to college, isn't it?
I think so, yeah.
You see, the only full episode I'd seen before, and I was really impressed by it, was when we were in New York.
Oh yeah.
And we were in the apartment just killing time. We were watching American TV, and it was the episode where they all lose their voices.
Oh, it's amazing! Hush.
Yeah, that was
an amazing
brilliant.
episode.
And I was like, oh wow, okay.
Yeah.
Now I'm curious. I want to watch the show.
But season 4's got loads of weird stuff like that. Like, it's really actually it's really groundbreaking in a way. Because like what happens is, it's not really a spoiler, but basically everything is rounded off in the penultimate episode, and the last episode of season 4 is a weird dream where it's in black and white, and this guy comes and they all have nightmares, and then at the end a guy offers them cheese, and like the cheese is symbolic. It's seriously true. Like he's like choose the cheese or something, and then like the cheese is symbolic of like what's happening to them within the series and stuff like that.
Clever.
So what they do is, if you like that kind of stuff,
I do.
It's if you're a fan of like The Sopranos, later seasons, you'll love season 4.
Well, it's funny that because like we're doing this like as like a double bill kind of thing. We're doing like Buffy first because it's quite a good thing to watch while you're having your tea and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then the next thing we watch then is Sopranos.
Yeah.
And they oddly complement each other really, really well.
Okay.
And even Todd Vanderwerf makes a connection between
the two.
The two, yeah. Like in the opening of season 2 of Sopranos, Melfi's like she talks about the patient that commits suicide because she wasn't available, and she's like, she's gone. I can't do anything, and that's because of you. And he says it's very similar to a speech made by a character in season 5 called Anya.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. And apparently, beat for beat, that speech is pretty much the same.
Okay.
So even there's some weirdo out there that maybe connection between the two. Anyway, so
are you trying to say that they're set in an expanded universe like other Joss Whedon, like the Avengers?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so season 1.
Yep.
Of Buffy. I agree with the sentiment that it is not as good as what it's become.
Massively lower budget as well.
It's quite apparent.
Yeah.
But the first few episodes are a bit hokey.
Yeah.
They're charming, but they're a little bit hokey.
Yeah.
It sets things up quite nicely with the opening two-parter, which sets up, Buffy going to the high school, meeting Xander and Willow, introducing Anthony Head as Giles, and then the supernatural element, which comes in the form of season 1's first villain, who's the Master.
Yeah.
Who's like who I'm told is the campest of all the villains.
I can't remember, to be honest.
He spends all of his time in a cave and he's like, I want to go outside.
Oh, is he the bald guy?
The bald one, yeah.
Yeah, I know who that is.
Who kills Buffy at the end of the first season, but then she's brought back to life.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Short series.
Yeah. Show us over, folks.
That's it, guys. So the opening two-part establishes the Hellmouth, and it establishes the supernatural elements and what the vampires work, and how Buffy's a bit of a delinquent, but she's also charming and funny and smart and all that bag of tricks.
Yeah.
Xander and Willow are they're fine, but they're kind of relegated to being like the comedic sides.
Yeah.
Willow has been kind of like the odd strange one, and Xander's been like hey, I am super confident, but I'm not really. He's like the quippy, sarcastic one.
Does he try and hit on a woman with black hair, Claudia or something? I can't remember her name. I don't know if she's in it yet. Yeah,
she's in it. Yeah, she's in it from season 1, episode 1, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
And hits on the character Cordelia, who is Cordelia's kind of fun actually. She kind of really grows throughout the season. She starts out as being the typical like high school princess, but then she found that she's got like a hidden depth to her.
Yeah.
One of the early highlights of Buffy is an episode all about an invisible girl.
Yeah.
Which is brilliant. That's a great episode. And what Buffy does really well, and the first season gets into the swing of it about halfway through, is showing the literal horrors of high school.
Yeah.
So it deals with lots of themes and conflicts which you'll run into in high school, and illustrates it through supernatural beings and monsters and stuff like that. Metaphors, yes, yeah. Allegory.
Yep.
I watched a great episode in season 2 recently, which is all about a sorority group.
Okay.
Like Buffy and Cordelia go to like a college party, but then they get tied up and offered up as an offering for basically virginal offerings for this giant snake monster.
Yeah.
And it's like a metaphor for rape.
Okay.
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
So this Invisible Girl episode is about that one girl, that one person who's not popular in school. Everybody ignores her, and it's basically like a revenge fantasy.
Yeah.
The girl becomes invisible, and she literally becomes invisible.
Yeah.
And she terrorizes the school. And Cordelia actually has a bit of a development in that she's like, you think it's easy being popular. Most of these people don't even care who I am, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, great. You're adding depths and layers to these characters. What I was most surprised about Buffy season 1 was how not as lame as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The concept sounds quite hokey.
Yeah.
Like high school girl has got to balance her social life and fight vampires.
High school really is hell.
Yeah. But fortunately and mercifully, the show transcends that.
Yeah.
And I said, season 1 it falls into the traps occasionally, but you know it's a first season and it's to be forgiven.
Most first season TV shows are quite poor.
Well, yeah, exactly, because they're establishing the flow and the themes and how it all works and what works and what doesn't. So while you have episodes like there's one episode where like the hard teacher comes to school and Xander finds her attractive. Oh. She's a giant praying mantis.
I remember that actually.
Yeah, that's a weird one.
Yeah.
The infamous bug episode.
Yeah. You've also got to consider, and all this would be like pre-serialized TV.
Exactly.
Like almost, like now obviously we consider them by seasons, and they tend to be quite consistent. But before Sopranos season 1, it was all episode by episode basis.
Yeah. But see, I've heard Buffy becomes that.
It does, yeah. Because this landscape changed.
Yeah.
Halfway through.
But even like Buffy season 1, like it helps to watch them in order.
Yeah.
Because there is an overriding plot about the return of the Master and trying to escape the Hellmouth, and a lot of the vampires in the show are linked to that.
Yeah.
So in each season, what I can see so far, there is some kind of overriding thing, which it probably helps if you watch them all.
Yeah.
In order. But it was interesting because Grace, my girlfriend, was telling me about like when she watched it completely out of order.
Yeah.
She watched it like maybe season 4, then 5, and went back and did the first few, and then finished off the series. So she watched it in a totally different order than what's recommended. But just because I'm used to watching serialized television,
but it's a lot easier now.
Yeah, it's easier. I've got it all on Netflix. We just go through each episode, and we don't have the inconvenience of the discs and all that crap.
Well, when I first watched it, it was just like literally, which one's on?
Oh yeah,
this would have been I'd have been like.
It's similar to like Next Generation, Star Trek, or something like that, where you could theoretically watch any episode and get what was at least going on. But I think maybe from the sound of it, as Buffy gets along, it helps if you watched them all in sequence.
Yeah. Especially, I think season 5 is the one where it's most like that, because like halfway through it becomes just one big story.
Yeah.
With very little sort of like, instead it gets rid of the Monsters of the Week format.
Oh yeah.
Which was popularised by, have you seen the X-Files?
Yeah, I've seen X-Files, yeah.
Yeah, that's the exact same thing, like there's a monster of the week and they have to beat it. Yeah. But anyway, you were saying about that.
Yeah, so then, I remember there's episodes where, like, it's all about, like, gangs in schools, and there's this gang of, like, badasses who go around school, and Xander wants to be part of the club, and then they get possessed by the evil spirits of this wolf pack, and they're, like, terrorising the school and stuff like that. So, very inventive, but very a little bit, they're not fully realised.
Yeah.
The first half of the season, the first episodes are really okay. And then it kind of gets into a little bit of a lull. It's just trying to establish, they're Monsters of the Week episodes, basically.
Yeah.
You've got one where it's like about a girl who's like a witch, and her mother's like a witch, and it turns out they've actually swapped bodies.
Alright.
Because the older mother wants to be in a younger person's body and all that. And it's kind of fun. It's kind of neat.
There's a great one coming up, by the way, where Buffy swaps some bodies with her mum.
Oh.
In season 3, that's really good.
That's
I just thought of that, yeah. But yeah, you were saying.
And then about halfway through, so I'm just getting the list up here, about the halfway point, things start to get really good. It clicks a little bit more. There's a really fun episode which I really enjoy, because I love outdated technology in shows, and I love like outdated attitudes towards technology in shows.
Yeah.
And there's an episode where it's all about like a demon who Willow is scanning a book into the computer for Giles, and the book's actually possessed. So the demon escapes and is like on the school network. It's awesome.
Yeah.
And like it takes the form of where Willow's chatting to this boy through like MSN instant messaging, like online dating and all that kind of stuff.
On the line, yeah.
But it's actually an evil demon who's corrupting Willow and making her do his will.
Alright.
It's really awesome and really a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And the Giles' attitude to it is like, I'll stick to books, thank you. Oh, I'm like a stuffy teacher. Oh, I'm a librarian. Oh, I'll stick to books. None of this computer malarkey.
Yes.
And then that's also the opportunity they introduce the computer teacher who Giles has a relationship with.
Yeah.
I've forgotten her name.
Oh well.
She's fine, she's nice, she's kind of funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, that episode's a hell of a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that one. just because of like how kind of, yeah, they're slightly outdated elements, but it plays a lot of it for laughs.
Yeah.
But again, you know, that's still relevant now, all about the dangers of internet dating and being careful who you talk to on the net and all that kind of jazz.
Yeah.
Still works today.